when God places something in your heart. A sermon on discernment, obedience, and divine calling. There are moments in life when something enters a heart that refuses to leave. It lingers in the quiet hours. It whispers in prayer. It follows us through our days. It may be a calling, a mission, a change we must make, or a path we feel compelled to walk. Many people ask, is this God speaking to me, or is this just my own mind? Scripture teaches that God does place things in the hearts of people, and when he does, it is not accidental. God places purpose in the heart. The Bible reveals that God often plants desires and assignments within the human heart. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 11. He had made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he has set eternity in their heart. This tells us something profound. God has placed a divine awareness and purpose inside humanity. That sense that there's something more you're meant to do is not random. It may be the beginning of a calling. God sometimes plants the desire itself. One of the clearest scriptures about this is Philippians 2, verse 13. For it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Notice the two parts. God gives you the will, and God gives you the ability to do it. Sometimes the desire itself is the seed of God's work in your life. That means when something righteous keeps stirring inside you, it may not have started with you at all. It may have started with God. Biblical examples of God putting something in someone's heart. Scripture shows this pattern many times. Nehemiah, God placed a burden in Nehemiah's heart to rebuild Jerusalem. Nehemiah 2, verse 12. Neither told I any man what my God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem. God didn't shout from the sky. He placed something deep in Nehemiah's heart. That burden became a mission that rebuilt a nation. David had a desire to build a house for God. 1 Kings 8, verse 18. Whereas it was in thine heart to build an house unto my name, thou didst well that it was in thine heart. God acknowledged the desire itself as honorable. Sometimes what God puts in your heart is the first step of something bigger than you realize. The danger of ignoring what God places in your heart. One of the greatest tragedies in spiritual life is ignoring divine prompting. When God calls, obedience matters. James 4, verse 17. Therefore to him that knoweth to do good, and doeth it not, to him it is sin. This verse is sobering. When you know what is right in your spirit but refuse to act, you begin to silence the voice of God. The heart can become hardened. That is why honoring what God places in your heart is so important. How do we know it is God? This is a question many people wrestle with. Not every thought is divine. Scripture gives tests for discernment. 1. It aligns with Scripture. God will never contradict his word. 2 Timothy 3, verse 16. All Scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. If the prompting violates God's character or teachings, it is not from him. 2. It produces peace, not chaos. God's voice often carries peace. 1 Coríntios 14 horas e 33. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Even when the calling is difficult, there is often a quiet peace underneath it. 3. It leads toward righteousness. God's voice moves us toward growth, love, and obedience. Galatians 5, verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. If the prompting leads toward humility, service, truth, or healing, it may be from God, for it persists over time. God's callings often do not disappear. They return again and again. What God plants in the heart often becomes impossible to ignore. When God calls, courage is required. Many people sense God calling them toward something, but hesitate. Why? Fear, uncertainty, doubt. Yet Scripture reminds us. Joshua 1, verse 9. Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. God rarely calls people to comfortable paths. He calls them to meaningful ones. At some point, we must ask ourselves, what has God placed in my heart that I have not yet honored? Is there a calling I have ignored? Is there a gift I have buried? Is there a path I know I should walk but have been afraid to take? Because when God plants something in the heart, it is rarely just about the individual. It is often about the lives that will be touched through that obedience. When God puts something in your heart, it is not random. It may be the beginning of a purpose. It may be the start of a calling. It may be the whisper of heaven inviting you into something greater. But the question is not only did God place it there, the deeper question is, will you honor it? Because throughout Scripture, the people who changed history were the ones who did. If you enjoyed today's content, be sure to like and subscribe. Take care and God bless.